everybody. Welcome back to Global Domination. I am so excited to have my guest today, Jonathan Klunk, who has been in the real estate industry. What are you on your 6th year now? I think 6?
No, more like 4.
Four. See, he has done so much in this business at such a fast, just like a fast start that I just keep adding time and age to you, sir. And I shouldn't do that.
Okay, I just get more Botox at all the age you need.
Well, Jonathan is in Louisville, Kentucky, actually, where I am based, and has been in real estate, like you said, the last 4 years. Superstar. He's been on the news, national news, because you have had a very unique approach as to how you've built that real estate business. And we're going to dive all into that today because I get excited for especially people like you who were so innovative when you started this career. You know, instead of just sitting there waiting for somebody to tell you what to do, you took it and made it happen. So how did you get into real estate?
So my entree into real estate was that my husband and I had a short-term rental management business. We had it for 8 years, sold it last year, but it was actually right before the pandemic, 1999. I became licensed because I wanted to add property management to our line of services. So we could do short-term rental management and property management. I had sold probably one property for one of my investors and had another listing coming before the pandemic hit and shut everything down on March 15th, 2020.
Oh, wow.
So I furloughed all of my employees. We had 7 full-time employees, 15 cleaners. We had our linen company. So we did everything for these properties. And I kept my marketing person. And I said, let's go. We're going to figure out real estate. And it really started with that next listing that I had coming up that we started heavily using social media. This was right before real estate agents really started doing that, at least in the Louisville market. I think they were in larger markets. And we started making interesting property tour videos that we would script out. They were like 11 minutes long. I mean, nobody would watch that these days, really. But I'm sitting in the hot tub with the owner talking about why they love the house, because I thought, you know, the property owner, if they're interesting, they should be part of this process, talking about what they love about the house, the neighborhood. Why are they never seen or heard from? So it really resonated. And I mean, I just started kind of getting listings from that. Also, my short-term rental clients, many of them were looking to sell at the time to capitalize on the increase in property values that was occurring simultaneously. And so since I had my real estate license, a lot of them started reaching out to me to start the conversation and ultimately decided to list with me. And that's what really gave us the initial boost that we needed to start our career.
That is amazing. And I want to go back to this whole video thing because that's how I first discovered you as well. Being in the business, I think it was like maybe the 6 o'clock evening news, and there's featuring Jonathan Klunk, a real estate agent in Louisville, Kentucky. And the video was you in the shower of one of your condo listings. And I'm like, what? But it got my attention.
We like provocative. Even in real estate, sex does sell if done tastefully. So we leave a lot to the imagination.
Yeah.
But that was a lifestyle video where we wanted to show kind of a day in the life of the property. So we use, upbeat music. So it has a little bit more of like a club party vibe, and did some wardrobe changes, showed kind of sitting down at the table, lighting the candles, cooking the dinner. And so for that video, my point of view was, the camera is my date, somebody who's coming over to the house. I'm trying to impress them in the kitchen. It had, no scripted parts with it. It was just all music and video. And we were kind of going up the stairs and, laying down on the bed. And then I had to get in the shower the next morning. And then I was sitting at my desk. So little provocative, but I tell you, it reaches your target client, who obviously is not everybody. I don't want every single person to be my client because I like being friends with my clients. I like getting along with them. So it attracts the type of client that I'm looking for.
I love that. And, it is catchy because look, the typical residential real estate agent hires a professional photographer, maybe a virtual tour, maybe a 3D imagery of the house or condo, and they put it on the internet. They do everything necessary. Um, and that's about it. So I want to hear your seller's perspective of when you tell them what you're going to do. Like, at what point is it at the listing presentation that you're sitting there having this seller listing, interview presentation that you're also thinking about, okay, how am I going to market this place?
Well, a lot of people who reach out to me have already seen me do that. I've actually had people, or they've seen my videos, and that might be why they've contacted me. I've actually had people disappointed if I didn't do a video for their property, either A, because it didn't seem like I could, just specific to that property, or I just had so much going on at the time that I couldn't make one. But what I like to stress about, especially in a listing position, when you are listing a property, this is the best opportunity that you will ever have to market yourself.
That's
So just taking a listing, putting it on the market, and kind of stepping away or doing a single social post about it that doesn't even have your picture, your face, or anything on it, you have an immense amount of missed opportunities by not taking this time to showcase your property. Because number one, it's helping you sell it, and number two, it's helping you sell yourself as well. So that's why we take advantage of every single listing opportunity that we can to do as much as possible.
I think that, and this is probably why I always assume or remember that you've been in real estate longer than you have, because, you did immediately just come on the scene and you were already busy. You were already listing property. You were already selling property. And it's like, who the heck is this guy and where did he come from? And you're trying to find out, was his mom in the business? Was his dad in the business? Like, how did this happen? But
Yeah.
it was those videos that
Mhm.
just, talk us through, because agents watching this, Jonathan, are probably like, well, he's got to have a whole entire film production crew. He's got to have all these people. Not really, right? It's you and your husband,
Yep.
and that's it.
Yeah, he's kind of trained in college on digital media broadcasting. So it's been invaluable to our business to be able to have him at our disposal. He's meticulous in what he does and also has a really good eye for things as well. So that's kind of a huge cost savings to us. Obviously, there's the opportunity value of money. He could be off doing something else at that time, making more money, but it's somebody that I don't have to pay to do it. And then there are people just of varying qualities and price points that you could always use who are local as well. Because I am in front of the camera, I never record myself. So somebody is always there with me unless I'm sitting at my desk, kind of doing more of an informational type of thing or recording my podcast. But when I'm at the property, somebody is with me. I paid as high as $800 for a video. That was the one that you saw because there's so much production value. That one took us, I think, 3 or 4 hours to film, just because I was, like, again, so specific. When I
Right.
reached into the table to blow out the candle, I wanted the camera right here to capture it and see the smoke go up. And like we shot that 3 times, and I had 3 wardrobe changes. And by the way, the AC was not on in the house. I was sweating,
So you
and
needed that shower.
the shower water was freezing cold. So it's it's not all glamorous work for sure.
But, $800, obviously it got you on the news, which is free commercial. I mean, think about the marketing to be on television, the dollars that you would have had to have spent. And so that $800 has probably come back to you in $100,000 worth of income because of that recognition.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it is a risk reward type of situation. And, for a lot of agents getting started without having that, if you don't have the business to kind of support it already, then it might seem like, a cost center where you're spending a lot of money, you're not seeing that return. And so you kind of want to shy away from it or do something else. And, to those people, I say consistency is always key. You have to have a message, you have to have a creative approach to it. People like to be entertained, they like to laugh, or they like to learn in a way that really doesn't feel like they're learning because of the way that you present the information. So if it's only you, if you don't have a lot of money to spend, then get CapCut. I think they have some free versions. Watch YouTube videos and figure out how to work it. and then watch YouTube videos on how to record yourself. Get a tripod, set up your camera, do different things, move it around, just take a couple hours in the house and really realize it's going to take like 8 or 9 hours my first time to shoot it, to edit it, do all of that. But if you have time and can't afford something else, then there's still no reason not to do it. You have the tools right at your disposal.
Yeah, in such a unique approach, because I'm glad you brought up about when you get the calls for the listing appointment, they already have seen you, they've watched you, they know what you're capable of. They're calling you because they're not interviewing. They want you, they want to hire you, and they're probably hoping, which is the best situation to be in with a client. They're just hoping that you'll take on their listing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how that works?
I mean, I do feel like whenever we walk in, we already have the business and they're not interviewing multiple agents. And there have been instances where people they were hopeful that I would take on their listing, but they were almost kind of afraid that I would say no. So that is a risk that you run as well, is that sometimes you kind of become unapproachable to some people, or they're hesitant to reach out to you because they kind of think that you're up here and maybe their property's down here, and it just wouldn't qualify. So, you have to do a good job of showing that you're kind of at all price points, and you welcome the opportunity to work with people for sure.
Well, and again, it's not, people might be hearing us talking and want to assume that you're in the ultra high luxury, and that's not the case. You've done these videos in the $200,000 price point, right?
Absolutely. And, I still have a lot of clients, investor clients, that purchase properties at the $50,000 level. I do at least 7 or 8 of those transactions a year. So, yeah, I'm all over the place, but I'd say that my average sale price is, about, between 250 and 400.
Yeah, but you're doing a great amount of volume, a lot of recognition. Again, 4 years in the business. When you got into the business, look, everybody tells us when we're new agents, work your sphere, work, build your database, make a list of your friends and family. Did you do that, or were you solely focused on building it this way pretty much?
I was solely focused on this. Using Facebook, that's really how I got out to my circle of influence, family and friends. And then once they started seeing that I was consistently posting things, they were like, "Oh, okay, I think he's in real estate now, and looks like he's doing well."
Yeah.
So that's how I reached out to them. I mean, I don't cold call, I don't knock on doors, I really don't purchase leads. I could do more business if I did all of that, but what we do right now is just so targeted, that that's how we grow our business. But not 100% of our business is coming from social media. I still have people that have referred me out to others, who don't follow me on social media and haven't seen any of my videos.
May have even be shocked if they saw one of your videos, right?
I was going to say, there was one client, she was very religious, but still, down to earth, and we got along. Just because I'm, not, I was grew up that way, but I'm not currently. So sometimes I worry about doing something to offend them. But the video that we did in her house was a recreation of Risky Business.
I saw that one too. I loved it.
Tom Cruise. So I didn't know what she would think if, she saw me in my underwear and a long sleeve shirt dancing around her house. And I don't know if she ever did, but if she didn't, I was, kind of thankful for that.
You don't know to this day if she ever saw it?
I don't. I doubt that she did. I don't think she has Instagram.
I would think that if she had seen it, she would have said something. That would be
Probably.
amazing. That was one of the.
I love that video.
They are excellent. That's one of my favorites too, because it's like, oh my God, that's so great. Of course, I'll have to admit, for me, I was like watching you because it's, immediately it's Risky Business. It's perfect. Yeah. The shirt, everything is perfect. I don't remember the house, but I remember you. So I guess for branding that it works.
Yeah. That's what you want. Yeah. But you're also marketing the property as well. So it gets into the right hands. We also do our static posts about, here's the new listing, here's this, here's that. The videos are really opportunity to market ourselves. And then we also supplement that with a little more traditional things so that we can get that information out as well. That's but, awesome. Like I was telling you before our call, it's really just all about networking. I went out and bought this book after I learned about it on here. I think he's
Put it
back.
right in front of your chest.
Oh, there
Financial
we go. That's a good
fanatical
one.
prospect. I love it. I love it.
I heard about that on here, and I read that in the bathtub. I take a bath every Sunday, and I pick a book and I just like read a couple chapters and have my bourbon, and so that is very, very inspirational to remind you how important it is to prospect. And it's something that you have to do every day. It never stops, even when you're busy, even when you have a full pipeline, even when you're out to dinner. I was out at a restaurant on Monday and I struck up a conversation with the guy next to me. And he's from Nashville. He's in medical sales. His brother lives here. And I got a message yesterday that we're now looking for $600,000 houses within a 5 mile radius of downtown, and that's a conversation I didn't have to have. I mean, I didn't have to
Right.
say anything to him, but I always work in that I'm in real estate, and just some fun feature about yourself, but don't be too salesy and follow up with people. I just started following him on Instagram, and that's how these conversations happen. He saw one of my videos. He said, "LOL." I said, "Is your brother ready to move yet?" And then a few days later, I got a text that they were looking, set up a search.
There you go. Well, and that is what it's about. Look, we have one job as real estate agents. We have one job, and that is prospecting, lead
Mhm.
generation, whichever you want to call it. It's the one job that we have to do. And if you're not, a lot of times agents will reach out to me, and, I'll mentor quite a few of them, and they'll say, nothing's happening. Well, what do you mean nothing's happening? What have you done this week to make something happen? How many people have you picked up the phone and touched base with? How many people have you, thanked or liked or whatever the case might be through social media? How many people did you strike up a conversation with? My husband gets so mad at me because there's not a time that I don't get in an Uber and leave that vehicle knowing everything about that Uber driver and seeing if they're potentially in real estate or, because I always believe that, look, they're driving Uber, it's because that is their what they're doing in the moment until they get to their dream lifestyle, unless they're retired and just doing it for the hell of it. But I have the best conversations, and those Uber drivers have business to refer to us all the time.
For sure.
All the time. So everywhere you go, there's opportunity. And then people say, but Stephanie, you're all business all the time. No, I'm not, because I'm having fun having
Mhm.
these conversations. And I
Absolutely.
love that. I love that. And, Jonathan, you and I didn't know each other until literally a few months ago. We knew of
Primary
one another,
company.
but we didn't know each other. And, I'd studied and watched you, look, agents, real estate people, you study your competition, you pay attention to what it is that they're doing. And not that Jonathan and I were competing for anything at all, but I'm always looking, how can I stay relevant? And as soon as he was on the news and I wasn't on the news, I'm like, wait a minute, he's doing something better than me, which you were, right? And you still are, because I'm not gonna, I'm just not at that point. I guess I'm too old now, but that's my own excuse. We do things in different ways, and everything's good with that. But I reached out to you because in watching what you were doing, I'm like, okay, he's got this short-term rental expertise that I don't know the first thing about. It's just not a space that I've had experience in. I don't
Mhm.
own any. I've never sold one. It's just not the space that I play in. And that's okay, because we all come up with our niches in real estate. But I also saw, I wonder why, he hasn't thought about this for the big time. And because you know how to market, you know how to get listings, you've proven all of that. And so what after that one initial, I guess, I don't know, maybe I should let you tell it from your standpoint. You do a better job of telling
Telling what?
it. My reach out
What
to
are you
you.
setting me up for? Okay. Yes. So when Stephanie reached out to me, I was a partner in my brokerage that I helped found. It's called 6 Degrees Real Estate. Um, I, wasn't necessarily looking, but business wasn't necessarily headed in a direction that I was in full support of. So Stephanie reached out, and first to my business partner, trying to get us to bring our full brokerage over under the EXP banner. I knew that they wouldn't go for it, But, I was kind of a little perturbed that somebody reached out to try and recruit us, um, because, we have a brokerage, we have a business. Like, that seemed a little kind of, it kind of put me off a little bit. But then after my business partner didn't really respond, then she reached out to me directly, which almost sent me through the roof. But I bit my tongue. I calmed myself, and I said, "Okay, let me at least see what her pitch is. Maybe I can adopt some of that because I'm having some trouble recruiting agents over to our firm." So we set up a call, and I mean, within 10 minutes, I was hooked because I mean, the direct approach when she was speaking to short-term rentals, and why are you only focused on Louisville? Why aren't you global? And the idea had never crossed my mind. And I mean, when I say a light bulb went off, I knew immediately that I was drinking whatever that woman was serving. Um, and we set up a lunch appointment to follow. But even with my business coach, the conversation went from how do I take over and dominate more of the Louisville market share to our next meeting was we're going global.
Yeah.
And I mean, it really helps you start manifesting more because you can think bigger. Like, it removes all of these boundaries. I mean, I have 4 out of state listings coming up that I'm working with other EXP agents, from clients of mine, either selling their family's home and relocating them somewhere else, or a client who's coming back to Louisville who moved away. And she only wanted to work with me because she loved the video I did. So now I have to go out to New Mexico and make another video, I guess.
There you go.
Um, and then buyers and sellers, I refer everybody. I take a higher percentage because I stay involved in the process as well. I don't just send out that referral. I want to be involved in the negotiation. Let me see what properties you're going to look at. Ooh, I like that house. That's a good price. I stay involved the whole time. Plus, I want to make sure that the other agent is A, doing a good job, and B, working that lead, that it's not going to fall between the cracks. And I am going to lose whatever commission we had agreed to because I'm not staying on top of it. So,
No, and I love that because, for me, look, we're always taught to focus on our local market. Right now there's a merger talks happening between GLAR and Bluegrass, and people in Louisville say, well, you shouldn't sell real estate in Lexington because you don't know that market. It's not about market, people, as much as it is about your niche, right? And so, when you got into the business, Jonathan, okay, you had done the management, you had bought and sold, short-term rentals and so forth.
Mhm.
But, let's call it what it is. You weren't necessarily an expert at representing other people yet. You had just begun that process.
Mhm.
But, we can master what we're great at anywhere and apply it anywhere. You've mastered the marketing, which is that can happen anywhere. And you can enlarge your territory. That's what this is always about, is global domination is that agents, if you want to truly expand and not be prisoner to your business, but actually build a business, it's expanding your footprint to the entire globe because it's possible. And so I love that because, with you and your coach, I love that I perturbed you and made you mad when I first reached out to you. That's my favorite part, I think. And the reason why it's my favorite part is because I love that you were so protective of who you are and what you had built, because you all had built something phenomenal. I just knew that you were bigger than what you had built. I saw it and I had to share it with you.
Thank you.
And, and I think that's our duty in this business, is when we see talent, pick up the phone and tell them, regardless of if you had done anything, still at 6 degrees or what have you. I just knew that this was a better path for you. And I wanted you to at least know about it.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. And one of the best strategies I think for recruiting is, and I learned this in a negotiation course, is the other agent is your absolute best friend from the start of the transaction to the end of it, no matter what happens. Because A, you're going to see their name on a sign later on. You're going to be writing the offer. The tables are going to turn the next time. And, when I was early in the business, I thought I needed to be a bulldog. I needed to be aggressive. It came from watching too much $1 Million Listing. And I quickly learned that no, I have to be nice to these people. And so now I do things like when I have a great transaction, I go leave them a Google review, just talking about how great it was to work with them. And of course, I ask them for one back. But doing little things like that really helps to, set them up for recruiting later on whenever you find the right approach. Obviously, you can ask anytime. But once you have that rapport, once you know how they operate their business, then be very complimentary and ask them if they'd like to sit down with Stephanie, who is the closer, and let them talk about EXP.
Absolutely. Well, and or reach out literally to either of us, because the thing about this is that regardless of what firm agents are at, I love helping agents. I love seeing agents win. We've had a lot of turmoil, a lot of recent news, a lot of fake news in the media right now. There is a lot of fake news. There is a lot of misinformed people to the public. Real estate agents are, we are here to assist people through sometimes their largest financial investment that they're ever going to make. We put in grueling hours on transactions. There's a lot of times we work for free, that there's a lot of risk in this business because we don't get paid unless somebody else is winning, right? And so, I hate the way that it's being, pictured in the media. But we all know how the media spends things. It's got to be clickbait. They've got to have those headlines that people stay in tune to, or at least turn on their show or what have you. But the fact is the fact. I mean, I can't imagine how many other professions that exist in the United States of America would want to be told what or how they could charge, right? I mean, it's just amazing to me. But look, agents out there that are wondering, or, it's business as usual. I mean, that's the real truth. It's business as usual. Sure, there's going to be compensation no longer in the multiple listing service, but look, it's business as usual. There's been a lot of changes in the real estate industry. When I got into the real estate industry, there were no buyer's agents. Everybody worked for the seller. And then that changed because the Department of Justice said we need to have buyer representation. So now it's kind of like flipped again, right? It's like trying to flip again, but it's not going away. So I know you're going to be on the news tonight for that.
Yeah. And so I have a girl who reaches out to me whenever she has a real estate story and needs some information. And the last time we were recording, which was about the short-term rental ordinance changes here in Louisville, I told her that this was coming and be on the lookout for it. So as soon as news broke, she's reaching out to me to see if I had some talking points. Of course I do. I wrote them real fast and printed them out, and I was actually kind of reading from them. I said, what I wrote here, I cannot duplicate. It won't sound as good. So I'm going to have to read these. But yeah, that's going to be on tonight. And one of the things I wanted to mention earlier is, there's a big difference between advertising, marketing, and PR. And you need a good blend of all of these. Advertising, you pay for. Marketing is kind of like all the creative that goes into your business and how you do it and what your messaging is. And then PR is the public relations point. It's usually free unless you hire a PR agent, but finding ways to get your name out there. You can be guests on podcasts. You can, in this case, make friends and show your value to people who are on the news, to local writers of your newspapers and all of that, and just make yourself available as a resource to them and show your value. And they will reach out whenever they have a story. If they write a story similar to something, reach out and say, hey, this was a great story. A couple of things I would have done differently as a real estate professional. But overall, fantastic. I'm available if you ever need, just a sounding board or somebody to get a sound bite or quote from in the future for anything real estate related, if you're interested. And then just, make a note to touch base with them like every 3 months and just shoot them a quick email, see if they have anything coming up. And they will reach out to you.
That is excellent, Jonathan. I mean, that's so true. And I don't think enough of us think of it in that way, but you're absolutely right. Jonathan, what's next? I mean, you've already started to do more than just Louisville, Kentucky real estate. That's already there in the horizon. What do you see the next 12 months of Jonathan's real estate career looking like?
Global. Yes. I want to buy real estate in Europe. And I realized that even with all the knowledge that I have about real estate, I don't know the first thing about Italy, about Spain, about France. I don't know about Can I use Bitcoin? When do I time it so that, the dollar and currency exchange and the strength of it, do the laws favor the buyers or the sellers? Is there an inspection period? What's typical to ask for? Who do I pay and how? So my goal is to find some people who want to do some global transactions and would like to use me so that I can start to get that experience working with EXP agents in other countries. I think that there's a huge market for Americans and expats who either want to retire, who want to move, who want to do something outside of the United States and owning real estate. And if you think about it, I've interviewed a few people. They only talk to their financial advisors. Like people in New York, that are very wealthy. They're talking to their financial advisor. Who should I reach out to? How do I get this process started? Even they don't know. So my goal is to be able to start learning that process and then to market myself as a global real estate expert. And then start attracting those people so that I can guide them through that process and introduce them to other agents and really be of value. Do you need a visa, work visa, travel visa? How long can I stay there before I have to come back? Where do I pay taxes if I'm still employed? So many questions and things to learn. Filing taxes in a foreign country seems like, shoot me. I can't barely do it here. So.
Well, there is so much to learn, but what I have learned in the little bit of global sales that I have done and currently doing is it's not as hard as you think it is. It's almost easier in some of those markets, because, well, a lot of those countries don't have licensing, but at the same time, it's just, there's so much incentives for the Americans to come and invest, which is amazing to an extent, for people that are looking for, especially in the short-term rental or just secondary, third-dairy homes, that exist. So it's very interesting. I love, though, that you have been able to immediately come to EXP, engage with other agents in all these different countries so that you can go and start that process. One of our core values at EXP is collaboration. And is that a lie at all?
No.
At all.
No. Everybody that I've met and talked to is extremely friendly, and everybody's willing to help. I go out, have coffee, lunch with people, just pick their brain, see if I can offer any value to them, and kind of a combination of what other people are doing and what I'm doing, kind of mixed in with my own ideas, really help to drive, I think, a lot of business. Do I have time to talk about one other thing?
Yes, please.
Okay. So talking about getting creative, I just like giving people examples to kind of get the juices flowing. So maybe it'll create something for you. So a lot of real estate agents shy away from for sale by owner, unless you're calling to, getting them to pick up the phone to do a full, 3% selling agent kind of agreement. But I've actually embraced it, and I've created something that is called 1% enhanced for sale by owner. So I put a sign in the yard, I list it on MLS, put a Supra box on it, let agents schedule. I direct all calls and questions to the seller. And once they start receiving offers, then I just kind of tell them how I would negotiate that. They still have all the conversations with the agent. Once they finalize something, I write it up, send it for their signature, copy them on the PDF so that they send it over to the agent. It's fairly hands-off. And I had one of these calls. I send one of my books that I've written along with a flyer about what's included. And I mail that to anybody who's selling their house for sale by owner on Zillow. Then follow up about a week later just with a text to them. I don't even pick up the phone and call. I just text them. Well, I got a call the other day, and we set up a call for today. Had it just before we came in here today. And believe it or not, I think that they might actually go with the full service instead of the 1% service. But because these are people who are already doing for sale by owner, and so they're used to that. They kind of know what to expect a little bit. Now I'm just offering a little guidance, support, and additional marketing for only 1%, with 2 or 2.5% going to the buyer's agent. So they're still kind of around 3.5% instead of 6. Very appealing. But then you can also convert them, the right clients, if they want kind of a more of a white glove service, which is how I advertise kind of being a full service agent as white glove. I think that resonates with a lot of people. So take things like that, apply those to your business. You don't have to cold call. You don't have to do too many crazy things, and you can still have your phone ringing all the time by making friends with journalists, by embracing 1% and all of the change in our industry, take all this confusion and with around NAR and just embrace it and make
Yes.
sure people know I'm not afraid. Real estate still has to sell. I'm still going to be very successful. Feel a little sorry for the buyers right now, not knowing what's going to happen, but we're going to figure it all out. And with over 1 million real estate agents expected to leave this industry in the next few years, either because they sell a few properties, maybe they're about to retire and decide to exit the industry because of all the change that's happening, and having to learn about that. That is going to create huge opportunities for us to grow our business even more in spite of and despite of the change.
Right. That's right. And plug in to people that have already experienced these changes similar, because there's been a lot of changes throughout the real estate industry since I've been in the business 25 years. So, look, it's a change, but it's nothing that we aren't going to pivot and be successful, right?
Absolutely.
Well, Jonathan, thank you so much for being on here today. What great advice for everybody that's watching. And I love that you are just so willing to share all your how you've become so successful. I mean, look, if anybody's been in the business and you're struggling, take a few pointers from him. Jonathan, share your handle and we'll make sure to put it in the comment section. But what's your handle that you want everybody to follow you at?
At Top Louisville Realtor. And my podcast is Real Estate Mentor. Same
Okay.
handle.
Awesome. So at Top Louisville Realtor, what a smart handle you got.
And whenever I first gave that to myself, I had sold like 2 or 3 houses, and I was watching the Facebook realtor forums, and I saw all these posts like, who are all these people who are coming in and calling themselves #1 best and top that like haven't sold anything? Like, I'm manifesting, greatness is to come.
Well, you quickly became a top realtor, so you own that now, and deserve that title now.
Oh,
So
yeah, I love to engage. I commented. I said, I think you're referring to me. So just watch.
Jonathan, I can't wait to see what you do in the next 12 months and the next 5 years in this business. It's going to be big. You're going global. So I appreciate you.
Hat, so next step is Icon.
There you are. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll put the Jonathan's contact information in the comment section. Thank you all.